What's up, guys? It's John here with National Sports Entertainment, and I owe everybody an apology. Here I was spewing these ridiculous conspiracy theories, but they did go out and they got the most unbiased and impartial virtue of integrity to come out and put me in my place. So, as you can see, the very uncontroversial Tom Brady has come out, a man who has received zero help from the NFL and no aid from the referees, of course. A man that's only getting like a mere $250 billion from Fox, and he's completely squashed my ridiculous conspiracy theory, along with about half of the NFL fans, because at this point it's about half the fans that believe it's scripted. But yeah, Tom Brady, of course, the voice of reason here is letting us know it's just ridiculous that there might be shenanigans going on with the Super Bowl. And yep, he's right. There's no way it could happen. We're just all insane. We're all just people that hate the Chiefs, and I genuinely believe Tom Brady here. He's right. These referees have a very hard job, and the NFL sports entertainment would never dare script games. The Brady tuck, that was a fair call. Making up a rule on the spot. They had to do a hard decision, and they did. And then ever since then, of course, with all Brady's rings, every one of them very hard earned. So to see such a virtue and beacon of justice come out and defend the referees really makes me question if it is rigged. I think Tom Brady's right here. There's not much that goes into it. He basically just calls it bullshit. And again, this is the type of stuff that I don't know if it's them being out of touch or just throwing it in our faces. They get the most protected player of all time to come out and say it's not rigged. It would be like having Joe Biden come out and talk about how elections couldn't be rigged. It's almost laughable. And it just reinforces the belief even further. If you didn't know, and I brought this up, and then he had a video like 10 I'm not saying he responded to mine. I'm just saying we understand what they're going to do. I brought up Pat McAfee. In my last video and the one before that, I told people to keep an eye on him. And sure enough, he comes out just yesterday and he's defending the referees, saying how, yeah, a lot of calls have gone Kansas City's way, but it can't be rigged. There's just no way. There's no way that sports entertainment could be sports entertainment. So yeah, it's not that deep. There's not that much more that I could go into. I've covered this as many ways as I possibly can, and I get the argument that they're doing this so they can quote prove it's not scripted, right? For people saying, because let's just say hypothetically the Eagles do win. And then people can say, oh, what now? Right? All year it's been scripted for the Chiefs. You got the three-peat. Why wouldn't you finish it off, right? If it was scripted, they would have finished it off. So there we go. There's proof that it's not scripted. And to that I say they could have done that many, many years. They could have done it last year. They could have done it the year before. They could have done it with the playoffs this year, where we didn't get the obvious Mahomes-Allen matchup where Mahomes obviously wins by the skin of his teeth. They haven't. They are blatantly running this script, and it's going to continue. So yeah, the Chiefs are going to win. There's no bait and switch, in my opinion. Why they're having Tom Brady come out is a little confusing. Now, he has to earn that $250 billion. I understand that. But even still, you'd think they would pay like Peyton Manning or like Donovan McNabb or somebody who fans might believe. You think they wouldn't pick the guy that is getting the Mahomes, like Mahomes is getting the Brady treatment, and then you give Brady the mic and have him come out and say that it's, just in our heads. So to me, the whole thing is just, again, a complete lack of awareness. Or B, it's the opposite. They're incredibly aware, and they just don't care because they understand in about 2-3 years, these games are going to be exclusively on Nickelodeon and Disney with SpongeBob and Phineas and Ferb calling the games. Again, these people wrote Mickey Mouse, right? It's not that much out of the realm of possibility that they might script some kind of game. And again, The reason I really believe history repeats itself, okay? So we have the whole Jordan thing, but a part people haven't gone into, and the few times I've gone into it, and I appreciate the people that have brought it up, they've told me, wow, I've never really looked at it from that perspective, and now I'm starting to see it. It's the demographics. I see it in wrestling all the time. They try and the reason wrestling is so successful and the reason it's flipped the NFL and the NBA, by the way, like it used to not be close. Wrestling was getting like 2 million views, and the NBA, NFL were getting like 20 million. And sure, the Super Bowl is going to probably get, multiple million, probably like 10 plus million, probably even more. But lately, NBA has been doing pretty bad. The NFL is nowhere near that like 15, 20 million view mark they were getting. They'll be lucky if they're getting like 8 to 10 million on an average game. Meanwhile, wrestling's going up and up. It's because wrestling caters internationally. They're on Netflix now, so everybody can see them. They cater to kids. They cater to adults. They cater to 90-year-olds. The NFL always catered to your, whatever it is, like 20 to 40-year-old males. And now they realize, well, screw them. We'll cater to every other demographic. So we have Nickelodeon calling the games and things like that. And again, they're basically all owned by the same companies. There's like 3 or 4 companies that own every channel on TV. So, yeah, to me, this is just more evidence that they're copying the Jordan formula, which was very effective. People are still buying Jordan's jersey, and a bunch of kids who grew up watching Michael Jordan, now they've been force-fed this belief that Michael Jordan is just better than anybody else. Even though he's not even the greatest Chicago draw of all time, that would be CM Punk. He's not the greatest player of all time, that would be Kareem. But he made them the most money. The same deal is going to be for Mahomes. He's going to get his three-peat, and then in a couple years, almost reminds me of like Jordan Bird. Brady's going to be the Bird. Maybe not that low, but he's not going to be. It's going to be Mahomes is the guy. He's the greatest. His prime was unstoppable. Yada yada yada. So to me, the more things I see, it's just more confirmation we're going to get the three-peat, and there's not much that makes me believe that the Eagles are going to win this game. The only argument would be for the people saying, well, it would be a great way of throwing millions of people that believe it's scripted off their game and maybe changing their opinion and saying, okay, you know what, I thought it was scripted, but the Chiefs didn't win, so it's not. And even if the Chiefs don't win, I don't think the people are just going to change their mind. People have already seen years upon years of scripting. And again, a league that is legally sports entertainment. But I wanted to go into this because it was just laughable. Of all people, they go with Tom Brady. The guy that was handed Super Bowl rings. The guy that could barely throw the ball on the Bucs, but somehow fell ass backwards into a Super Bowl. The guy who himself, this is his opinion or whatever you want to call it. This was his assessment that he had no control over his games. It was his witch of a wife who would draw up voodoo curses whether he was going to win or not. And I'm not making this up. He literally said this. He said his wife was a witch, and she determined whether he was going to win, predicted whether he was going to win or not. And I have a whole video on like 30, 40 different players calling the NFL scripted. Because whenever I bring that up, people will say stuff like, oh, it's just Larry Johnson and that guy from the Bucs. And it's not just Larry Johnson, and I think it's Dwight Smith. There's dozens upon dozens of players who have come out in the NFL alone and said it's scripted to a T. And not the satirical ones like Arian Foster. I'm talking about actual people that genuinely have come out and said it's scripted. Dating back decades, by the way. So, and they had another leaked score, by the way. This leaked score had Chiefs winning 41-38. What is interesting is they did do it the first time the Eagles played the Chiefs. And there was like a leaked score of like, I don't know, it was really close to the actual score. It was like 35-32. They had the Eagles winning in that leaked score. And I believe the Chiefs won 38-35. So like the leaked score itself was actually really close. They just had the wrong winner. All that stuff, just like the logo theory, is all, in my opinion, smoke and mirrors. But again, just to have Brady come out, say there's no way it can be scripted, when this man had the entire league scripting it so he could win. One of the guys who said it's it's scripted was Jalen Ramsey, who came out when he was on the Jags and said, yeah, coach told us to let Brady get his, not to defend the receivers that tightly, and if it's a close play, to kind of let the receiver get some space and make a catch. This was when the Jags played the Patriots like several years ago. Since then, he had deleted the tweet, and then he's come out and mocked people for calling it scripted because they probably gave him a good spanking. So it's just so obvious if you really are paying attention, and even if you're not, it's pretty obvious. And again, when I started my channel, we were clowned pretty hard. There weren't many people who were noticing it was scripted. The people that were following did, obviously, but I'd say it was like 5 to 10% of fans actually thought it was scripted. Where, dare I say today, I'd say 50% of the fans believe it's scripted. So it's not something the NFL can just change. They're not going to change the opinions of all these people. The best they could do is, again, try and appeal to another target audience, which in this case would be people under the age of 12, right? Pretty impressionable. They're not going to ask many questions. The observation skills aren't really there yet. The pattern recognition isn't really there when you're an adolescent, and people want to, a lot of these people want to cheer for Mahomes because it's a nice story, right? And Mahomes is the guy, and it's pretty easy to want to cheer for the guy who's looking unstoppable. It's no different than Michael Jordan. So yeah, again, not much has changed. I've maintained this since last year. The second that they got number 3 total, but number 2 in a row, number 3 was inevitable. There's just no way that, in my opinion, they're going to go this far and then deny history, deny the three-peat, and then either never have a three-peat or give it to someone else in like a couple decades. It just doesn't make sense. You give it to Mahomes, he's the next Jordan. And then the other thing I'd gone into, it's the only way you can compare him to Brady. Because if he loses, again, even if he wins a couple more, he's not catching Brady in almost any stat. He's not going to play as long, and he's not going to, in my opinion, catch him in rings. He's not going to catch him in MVPs. He's not going to catch him in stats. He absolutely needs to win this game. And they've spent way too long investing in this for them to just turn around. And the other argument, by the way, Belichick is essentially the undisputed greatest coach of all time. You have guys like Chuck Noll who might have an argument, who is a Bill Gibbs for the Redskins. He won a few, but I'm trying to think of the guy for it's another Bill, I think. Maybe it is Bill Gibbs, the guy who played for the Niners coach. Was that Bill Gibbs? I'm trying to think. I think I'm mixing up names, but anyway, the guy who coached the Niners got like 5 championships. Like, it's undisputedly right now Belichick. Now with Andy Reid, again, if he gets this, they can say, okay, he got a three-peat. He's won with a couple different teams. He had a better all-around career because Belichick sucked at the end when he didn't have Brady, etc., yada, yada. So, to me, it's just incredibly obvious. And then you throw in Taylor Swift and Kelsey and all of that stuff, and it becomes more obvious. So, yeah, Chiefs win. I know I said it a million times over, but it's the only way. Oh, yeah, here's Pat McAfee right here. This might be the video he did it in. I don't know. This is like a clip, but you can YouTube it. He talks about the refs, and for like half a second, he talks about how Josh Allen was maybe screwed, but then goes right back to how it wasn't on purpose. And Mahomes is just that good. Mahomes is just that good of a player that people have to think it's scripted for him to win because he's that talented, and it's just laughable if you think about it. So yeah, again, Chiefs win. It's just, in my opinion, inevitable at this point. And then I wonder what they do. I almost wonder if they go with a four-peat, right? Because I don't think we've ever had a four-peat in the history of any sport. So I almost wonder if they do that. And by the way, another tactical reason for this is people like to enjoy the chase. Okay, wrestling is never more popular, and ratings are never higher. Merch for a guy chasing the championship is never higher than when you have a guy that's been champ for a while. So WWE just did it with the tribal chief, and you can't even make this up, the tribal chief, Roman Reigns. He won, I think it was 3 or 4 years in a row at WrestleMania. He kept winning and winning and winning, and fans were getting tired of it. but more people watched every year because they wanted to see who eventually dethroned Roman Reigns, again, the tribal chief. And eventually, obviously, it was Cody Rhodes, but they're running the same script here in the NFL. Who can finally dethrone Patrick Mahomes? So, I personally think we're going to see something like Chiefs win this year, and then next year will be like the fourth straight year, and like the seventh straight year he goes to the AFC Championship. And I think that would be a good time for Josh Allen to get his. But we'll cover next year, obviously. But it's just kind of the long term booking that I'm looking at. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to go into this. I'm curious people's opinion. I'm sure the second you guys saw Tom Brady come out, you probably laughed a little bit, maybe sighed or groaned because it was obvious and expected. But at the same time, the way they're handling this is so blatant. It's so egregious. There's just there's not many other ways I can cover it. It's something that has been abundantly obvious for quite a while now. So yeah, a little damage control going on. It's not gonna work. But again, I really don't think they care. I think they just care about bringing in millions and millions of kids, kind of like Mr. Beast does, just prying on children that don't have observational prowess yet. And yeah, then we're going to have a bunch of people in 10 years that are talking about Brady the same way people are talking about Jordan now because it's been force fed down people's throats. Or I mean Mahomes, not Brady. And then of course we have Brady calling the game. And I can already hear the banter between Brady and whoever his co-host is, Nance, whoever the heck it is. Oh, if Mahomes wins this, do you think he's better than you? All that stuff, you know. And I wouldn't be surprised if Brady was like the guy presenting the trophy to Mahomes at the end of the game. Again, it's just so obvious. I really wouldn't be surprised if we actually got Kelsey proposing with the Super Bowl ring at the end of it too. So yeah, not a super long video, and again, I know it's nothing new, and again, it's not in a cocky way. I've covered it so many ways. There's not many more ways I can go into it. But the game's tomorrow, so I figured I would just do one final video of just going into why the Chiefs are definitely going to win. Now, there is an interesting thing. I've had a few people tell me, now it's a 1 point spread now, which means it could definitely be a clip. Because a lot of people are like, I wonder if it's a 1 point game, right? Because a lot of people probably got in at 1.5. Now, I think more money is on the Eagles, if I'm being straight up, because the only money on the Chiefs is Chiefs fans and people who think it's scripted. And then the rest of the money is the entire world who wants to see the Chiefs lose and basically fans of all the other 31 teams that hate the Chiefs. So that tells me more money is going to be, unless I'm underestimating the amount of people who believe it's scripted. I should say no, it's scripted because it is. But I think there's going to be more of a handle on the Eagles. And from what I'm seeing, there is more of a handle on the Eagles. Especially if you include preseason liability. The Chiefs were like 4-1. So, yeah, that's a payout. But the Eagles were like closer to 10-1, which is a huge, maybe even more, because they were pretty trash last year. I think the Eagles were closer to 15-1 in preseason. So, yeah, to me, it just makes perfect sense that the Eagles do not win this game. And it's another interesting thing. I mean, Brady will have beaten two teams 2 times, right? Or not Brady, Mahomes. See, the comparisons are so ridiculous. I'm going to start mixing these guys up. But anyway, you know, he got the Niners twice, and now he'll get the Eagles twice. And to me, that just makes perfect sense. So yeah, it's not that deep. Now, we can look into MVPs. I actually don't think the MVP is going to be Mahomes. Simply because the three-peat is more than enough. He's got enough with that and everything else to be considered the GOAT, if they want to say he's the GOAT, or at least tied with Brady. To me, Kelsey makes a lot of sense for an MVP here. He's been pretty strong in the pro season, as he usually is. I could also see somebody like maybe one of the receivers. I know Rice is out, so maybe it'll be not Juju, but maybe I'm trying to think. Maybe the rookie receiver they have. What's his name? Is Likely, or he's on the Ravens. I always mix up the. I think it's Favors. I don't know why. I think it's because their names are words, you know, like favor and likely. I mix them up all the time. But that rookie receiver for the Chiefs, I have a feeling he might go off, get a couple touchdowns. So I would actually stay away from Mahomes on the MVP bet. I would focus more on a receiver or tight end. I don't think it's going to be Chris Jones. I don't. I mean, it could be, but I think it's going to be a receiver. I really do, or Kelsey. So like for me, a good package would be Chiefs win. I would take the cover at -1 because if we push, fine. But you're saving yourself some juice. If it's 1.5, I would go with the money line or at least buy a half a point. And yeah, I don't think it would hurt to combine that with Kelsey MVP, and then you can even do a second one with maybe another player. It could be like a $2,000 situation too, where we get again like maybe like a cornerback who gets like a pick six and has 2 interceptions or something like that. So the MVP is not as easy to call, of course. Of course, Mahomes is going to be the odds-on favorite, but I don't know. I don't think he's going to win the MVP. I really don't. I don't think he's going to have a crazy game. I think we're going to see a receiver really go off. Probably the guy that Darius Slay is not guarding. So, yeah, that's about it. I'm very interested to see the talking heads going into this. There's essentially no channel. And again, this is, in my opinion, a win for the people like us that know it's rigged. Scripted is a better word because rigged is more like it's just predetermined, but not really exactly. They're just determining, they're kind of screwing a team, and that's the end of it. Whereas scripted is more like wrestling, where they have spots set up, and that's what we see. So yeah, I'll have people. I actually want to cover this live. I asked a few people what they were doing for the Super Bowl. Have not got a definitive answer from anybody, so I probably won't be doing anything. I might wind up going somewhere, but I think it'd be cool to do this live. We can do it during the bowl, but if people are going to be busy and stuff, then I can cover it beforehand. Maybe we can do like a 2 o'clock video or something, and just a couple hours of going into it. I do like doing it live because we catch things, right? We'll catch things on live time, and then we could do some live bets and stuff like that. So just please, of anything, let me know if and when would be a good time. Hey, it's 2:09, same time as the Super Bowl, 2:09. Maybe it's a little bit of a synchronicity here, but I'm curious what people think as far as if you guys want to, what time would be a good time to go live? Because I would like to do it. I would like to cover it live. It's been a long time since we have. And I'm curious other people. I love doing live because we get a lot of fresh perspectives, and I get to kind of hear everybody's opinion, and we can kind of go back and forth. And we talk about everything under the sun, by the way, when I do live videos. We talk about football, but we talk about everything else too. So, yeah, that's just my opinion. I think we 100% are guaranteed a Chiefs win here. They get number 3. They get the three-peat. We get the Jordan comparisons, all that nonsense. And like I said, for the MVP, for the over-under, I'm 50-50. Of course, shootouts are always a little more entertaining, but I could see it being a lower scoring game. I don't think Mahomes is going to do anything absolutely insane. I think he's just going to have himself a good game, and I really do like a receiver or Kelsey to win MVP here. So you can let me know what you think. Again, with Brady, I just think it's laughable. Of all the guys, they have him come out. They just paid this man so much money to basically do what he's doing, play damage control. And I guess he's doing a decent job, although I don't think many people are buying into it. And here's interesting. I moved from 49.5 to 48.5. We'll have to see if that winds up being a clip too. But yeah, it's just, in my opinion, the writing's been on the wall for quite some time now. And it's time for the three-peat. So you can let me know what you think. I wanted to get this out a little bit earlier. I've been a little sick lately, so I was just trying to make, I could barely talk like 3-4 hours ago, so I was just waiting until my voice kind of came back. But yeah, I'm curious what you guys think with all the different outlets, at least acknowledging that so many people believe it's scripted. There's not much the NFL can do at this point. They're not going to change people's opinion because they made it so egregious. And you can see the NBA don't care either. I already, my last video, I covered the Luka trade. If you didn't see that, they just don't care. They really don't. I said this, and people thought I was like joking. I was towards the middle of last year. I said within 2-3 years, the NFL is going to have to make a concession where they come out and say, okay, well, no, we don't script games, but we are a sports entertainment, so we want to make it entertaining for people. So there are things we do to make it more fun. And then you're going to see that concession move and move and move to the point where at some point I think they will admit it's been scripted the whole time. And then almost act like we're stupid for not knowing that, right? They always do that. Or the people that like said it wasn't scripted and then they find out it is, they're like, oh, of course, we always knew that. You see that with every kind of, quote, conspiracy theory. People that can't admit, wow, I was duped like a kid on Christmas with Santa Claus. They just want to act like they knew it the whole time. And that's what I think we're going to start seeing. But yeah, that's essentially it. Please let me know if and when you want me to do a live video, because I think it'd be pretty cool. And I need some time, obviously, to set it up so people can see, people can be notified of when it's going to be. So just let me know, in the comments or whatever, if and when you want me to go live tomorrow. And yeah, I'm really not expecting to be surprised here. It just seems way too obvious, in my opinion, that Pat Mahomes, the NFL's tribal chief, gets his three-peat here. So I do appreciate you guys. I know my videos haven't been as consistent as years prior. I'm putting in about 60 hours now, if you include the drive for my job, my soul-sucking job. And I don't have a ton of time, but I have had a little more downtime lately. So I want to cover videos when I can. We will be going into the NBA very hard over the next couple months as that goes into the finals. You see Bronny's back. He's back from the G League, I guess. LeBron hit like a logo three, and they had a little clip of Bronny reacting. Just, clapping it up for his dad. And it's funny, too. I don't know if it's connected, but I don't know if you saw the Marcus Jordan news. He just got arrested for drunk driving on train tracks, is the best way to put it. And can't make that stuff up. But yeah, we'll have to see what happens here. I am looking forward to getting into the NBA. I've covered it a few times. The Lakers Celtics is the only thing that makes sense to me. I said that in the preseason too. And with Luka going there, it actually makes me a little skeptical. It was like when I liked the Niners to win the Super Bowl a couple years back, but then they got McAfee. And then I was kind of skeptical because it seemed too obvious. Kind of makes me think that with the Lakers, but I'm still sticking with them. I think they're going to win it no matter what. Their ratings are down. I don't think they care, if people think it's scripted because Luka and LeBron get a championship. But I'll go into that when I go into the NBA. But yeah, let me know what you think about the props, about who you think might win MVP, about Brady's comments, Pat McAfee, if you've seen it. All those different things that I've been covering for a while now. And yeah, if you think this is a bait and switch where they're going out of their way to show all the different ways people think it's scripted just so they can hit us with an I told you so when the Eagles win, that's one way to go, I suppose. I don't think that's the case. Or if you think it's just straightforward and it's not that deep. Mahomes is the new Jordan, going to get his third straight. That's why they got McAfee and Brady running damage control already. And more importantly, that's why, again, it's always falling on the referees. Not one of these guys that's running damage control is saying, yeah, the NFL isn't scripting games. They're not even mentioning that. They're going into the referees because the referees are like a third party, essentially, who can be accused of throwing games like Tim Donahue was, and it doesn't come back on the league or the teams or the players, etc., the owners. It's just going to be the refs. Like, the refs are this powerful. They can just show up, ruin the game, and there's no ramifications. So I'm curious what you guys think. I did want to cover one last Super Bowl video, and with Brady's ridiculous comments, of all people for him to be claiming this is just, again, as laughable as you can get and as blatant as you can get. So yeah, looking forward to the game tomorrow. It should be a very interesting one, a very entertaining one, and a very controversial one. And I think, again, we're going to get that Mahomes three-peat. So yeah, take care and happy earnings.